Happy Tuesday, everyone. This is IT Live. It is brought to you by Academy Sports and Outdoors. And this is the Tuesday show where we break down the upcoming opponent, San Jose State Spartans. At first, we will talk a little bit Ohio State because, of course, we want to hear what Paul thought about that. But this show is generally a forward look at the upcoming opponent. Guys, guess where you should go to get all the latest team analysis, team news, recruiting updates. If you're still on Ohio State, we still got that for you there too, guys. You can join Inside Texas for $1 for your first week. As a bonus, you will get a complimentary year to The Athletic. Also, guys, the season started, but Paul didn't just do a Texas football preview. He did opponent previews, guys. Go read up on everyone we will play as well as SEC. Check it out, guys. All the links are in the description. By thanking Texas football today and make your friend Paul smile. Hey, Paul.
Hey.
How are you, man?
I'm good, man. We had a great weekend. Big win.
Yeah, huge win. We were just delusional every week.
No, I mean for the youth team that I coach.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's true. Paul did. So Paul on Saturday, guys. Y'all were watching the wrong game on Saturday. Paul did. What's your team name?
The Blizzard.
The Blizzard got the W.
You act like you've never heard of the Blizzard. You know who they are.
You're right. Yeah, sorry. I was just going to be disrespectful there. But the Blizzard got a W, Paul. How was it out there? Was it a dominant performance? Did you squeak it out?
It was a dominant performance, which is great because then everybody really gets to play and you get to, well, I mean, everyone gets to play anyway, but you really get to mix up lineups and try different stuff. And it's more fun when you win. So, yeah, we played the Spartans, ironically enough.
Cool. Oh, so you got to scout a little bit, dude.
Well, I got to scout.
Yeah.
Their center weighs about 110 pounds, but he's 5 feet tall.
Yep.
So that's going to be an advantage.
Yeah, we have the edge. Their linebackers cry when he gets hit.
That's right.
These are all those kind of factors. So
our quarterback sneak averaged 5 yards a carry.
Okay. So, cool.
Something
man.
to keep in mind. Not quite the Texas quarterback sneak, though, is it?
No, it was not. And
one of the instruction points I have for my offensive linemen, though, that's different is when you're doing a quarterback sneak, you don't just fire out and flop on your belly like you're
just lay on the ground.
Yeah, you don't just lay on the ground. You actually have to drive your feet and get low and try to create movement. I don't know if that's just a coaching point for me, but I'm an amateur.
Yeah, exactly.
We have professionals, and they would never have bad coaching points.
Yeah. So, that was a big thing. They just basically cut block, and then the 7 linebackers and safeties that are sitting there just jump over their line and make the tackle. All right, Paul, you did your postmortems, man. What were your big takeaways real quick on the offensive side, Texas offense first?
Well, you've got really good Inside Texas and Join to get the full breakdown. But I thought, it was kind of what we had talked about coming in. If we wanted to look at what Matt Patricia was going to do, I said we should probably look at how Steve Belichick coached at Washington last year. And that whole approach was take away the passing game explosives, ignore incremental run game between the 20s, and then tighten up in the red zone. Guess what Ohio State did? So I guess there's a lot of box score Aggies who are like, we outgained them, therefore we won the game. But that's not how the game was played, and they played most of that game with a lead, and particularly the 14-0 lead being the most important. They didn't really care if we ran for 5 yards on, 2nd and 6 on our 32-yard line.
And that's the modern NFL approach as well, and Patricia did that.
It is. The difference is the NFL approach, because your defensive linemen are so good, and you're so much more sound in run fits and things like that. And you can fit the run from distance much more effectively. Like you can assign gaps to a safety and he will get there. You don't get the explosives in the run game like the college game. So the way you punish that, the way you punish the light box is you have got to have big runs, right? And Texas never did. Our longest run went for 15, and we had 2 other runs for 10. Everything else was, 1, 3, 6, 5, 3, 4. I mean, it's all situational football. The box score is often lying to you. And what happened was, here's an example of the contempt that they had for our running game. We had a 1st and 9 on their goal to go, and they stayed in a light box. They weren't even going to put in goal line until we crossed about like the 5. That's like how much contempt they had for our running game. And so people are like, well, Trey Weiser averaged 5 yards a carry, and Cedric Baxter averaged 4 yards a carry. That's just good football. And it's like, well, there were 57 minutes where there was a 0 next to Texas's score. How are you not reconciling those things, as this was all part of the plan for Ohio State? So it's unfortunate, but there were plenty of opportunities to convert in the red zone. And late in the game, Ohio State actually, coverage-wise, started to fall apart. And we started to dial up winners. And frankly, we did not convert. Arch Manning did not convert. He did not see open guys in the end zone that would have been walk-in touchdowns. It's part of the growth process of being a young quarterback, but you would have liked to have seen him get some composure. There's one particular sequence, Connor, where we ran crossers in the end zone because they were running man in the near the goal line, which can be very dangerous, right? You can get rubbed. Spencer Shannon ran a rub route and came off of it wide open.
Yeah.
Literally half jog into the end zone. And Arch rifled the ball like a fastball at DeAndre Moore's head, which he's angry at DeAndre Moore for some reason, because every ball he threw DeAndre was a bad ball. And then the next play, I believe the next play or maybe the play after that, we ran the same concept with Wingo right in front of his face, open, touchdown. And Arch bypassed him and threw that out to Livingston, which was not a bad ball, but that wasn't the play call, and Sark had dialed that up again for a reason.
You saw
right there.
As the game goes on and the pressure mounts, Livingston becomes far more of a focus in the target sheet. Arch clearly trusts Livingston. I get their roommates, whatever, but he starts going to him for the big plays, and that's what I thought was interesting. But here was the initial take: is like, Patricia is a wizard, and how could you have, the mind was melted by what occurred. There was some disguise, but I broke down every single pass play. He disguised 28% of the time. The guys on YouTube or ESPN that are talking about disguise are cherry picking and showing you 3 plays with disguise. It wasn't.
Well, I would say disguise can happen in multiple areas, right? It's not just it's also the fronts.
So they do some penny front 5 and then drop out, simulated pressure type stuff. But here's the thing. It ends up in cover 3. So, and it's every time it ends up in cover 3. And so Sark gets that in the second half, right? You start seeing us attack the flats, weakness cover 3. You start seeing little curls in the seams of cover 3, weakness of cover 3. And then Arch just isn't hitting it. So this is a big factor. And also this is not like Patricia as a genius. Like, this is NFL football right now. There's nothing I haven't seen that they aren't doing a ton of in the NFL. They're putting guys on the line. They're dropping them to cover 3. Sometimes they mix in Tampa 2 to pick up a crosser. If you watch YouTube NFL football, you could have made this game plan. This is like pop culture NFL right now. So it's, for a young quarterback, clearly that was flustered. It freaked him out. But most of the time it was showing pressure to just drop into cover 3. Sark realizes it and starts calling it for him. If Arch just hits a lot of these simple plays or notices these guys that are open, for instance, the opening sail concept where he should have hit the guy behind and who's open, he just doesn't. So he's not seeing the field. So I'm not knocking Patricia, but it wasn't that crazy of a game plan. Our quarterback was just nervous, and especially in the second half, you can see it. What I was kind of worried about is like watching more all 22. Remember Georgia and Alabama last year? They were 1-2, and everyone was like leaving that game. They're like, the greatest teams of all times just clashed. And it's like, well, I see a lot of holes in their games. I'm worried there's a little bit of that going on with Texas, Ohio State too.
Yeah.
That both teams have problems, and we're just saying that they're good. Sands young, but that offense didn't do much. The flip side is, Texas defense is just elite. We don't really know. They didn't throw down the field a ton. We'll have to see against like a Florida and Oklahoma. I just want to be wary of labeling both of these teams elite and incredible when really there was issues on both sides that occurred. So that's what I'm also kind of weary of here. You need more games, period. You need to get into SEC conference play. But this felt a little Alabama-Georgia-y to me, and both of those teams disappointed at different degrees last year. So that's what I need to see too.
Yeah, you're right to be wary about any opener. I think it's the football season plays out, and a lot of your assumptions in week one don't prove out.
Yep.
I still think North Carolina can win the national championship.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. The opener said differently.
Yeah.
But they're going to progress. And did you see that opening drive?
Yep.
Yeah. Right down the field.
What's really funny about football is it exists in a time space that doesn't exist anywhere else, meaning that we will say things like, man, they have a lot of time till Florida. It's like a month's really in real normal time is not a lot of time.
No.
But we talk about in football like it's 3 years. It's like, guys, we have 3 weeks. Like if I told you that in any other context, you'd be like, that's not enough time to get good at that. But football just lives in this weird time vacuum that's pretty funny.
One thing I did offer, and I just put up the defensive postmortem late last night after I was able to watch some different view film, which was enlightening. It actually made me more impressed with our defense. Those guys were very dialed in to everything.
LaFau was awesome too, man.
LaFau, Taff, McDonald,
Mm-hmm.
Our defensive tackles. I love that group in terms of their diversity, the different bodies they have, the different skill sets they have. We played a lot of 3 defensive tackle fronts when Ohio State would try to get big on us and bully us. Mm-hmm. Hero Kanu is a player. Like Travis Shaw, very interesting guy. He does not play the way I thought he was going to play. He's actually kind of like a 330-pound, like refined finesse guy. Like he long arms the center, stands up and looks into the backfield, and then he moves laterally really well between the tackles. Because he's such a big guy, he can't play that way, 40 snaps. So we only played him 20, which is what we're going to do going forward. But he is a really interesting nose. He is not like the Cole Brevard, I'm just going to freaking be like, and like, you cannot move me, right? My feet are roots in the ground. Shaw was really interesting. January was incredible.
He made plays too, like getting out of his gap, chasing guys down, like
very active down the line of scrimmage, which is huge. And I want to talk about that with respect to us. Ohio State limited us and really prevented any explosives in our run game because their backside defenders routinely dominated our backside blockers. And a lot of that was effort and bad technique. So there are some things I highlighted on the goal line where we've got an entire side of the offensive line on the backside who doesn't really try very hard. In a big game on the road, we're down 7-0 at the time. And we ran this little arch sweep, which would have scored, but some stuff got messed up. The guy who makes the tackle is CJ Hicks, lined up 7 gaps away on the backside of the play. And he makes the play laterally down the line of scrimmage because DJ Campbell and Baker literally kind of step out, stand up, and kind of turn and look and like watch the play. Like biggest game of the year, and it's Tuesday scout team energy. Like, when you're the starter and you're going against the scout team guy and you guys kind of make a deal. Like
I used to do that all that time. We had a killer defensive end. And I would tell him in practice, I'm like, chill out, dude. You're beating the hell out of me in practice. Like, we're fine, dude. We're on the same team here. Jeez.
But that happened repeatedly. And it's footwork issue. It's an effort issue. I was very unimpressed with the offensive line play. And there's a lot of people who are like, well, we averaged 4.5 yards a carry. Therefore, the O-line played great. It's a light box, guys. If you can't run for positive yards in that, you're useless. Like literally useless. the truth was we didn't punish them. Some of that is our running backs are not exactly extra gear guys. Like if you watch that Ryan Wingo end around, and then you watch Wisner and Baxter, you're like, oh, those are different acceleration modes. But yeah, I was very unimpressed with the offensive line. And Ohio State is good and talented. They will not be the most talented front that we play. I can assure you that.
I haven't broken down run game. That's going to be today when I have time. I'm going to go look at the end zone copy and look at the run game specifically.
So we're now 2/3 gap blocking. Last year we were more 50-50. Everyone thinks we were only outside zone last year. I don't know how that got started, but whatever. Gap blocking requires you to move people. Okay, they're giving you angle advantages. You can't just fire out and be like, I have a hat on him, he's blocked. Because the guy disengages and goes and makes the play. Gap blocking means you move people. And a lot of the times our pullers would make contact and then they'd stop and they'd stand straight up. And then the guy would disengage and make the play. You have to hit the guy and drive your feet. Like, these are like 5th and 6th grade level coaching points. So this is not like esoteric O-line play. So I'm very unimpressed with the O-line. Flood had 3 years to basically be shielded and build out for 2025, right? And he has the portal. He has his own native development. In the opener, it was a fail. And I can tell you we've got some really bad habits that are going to cost us multiple games this year if they don't get addressed.
I disagree. I think this team's incredible, and no, I haven't watched run game that far. All I know about run game is broadcast, and I need to be able to see it from the end zone. Did one thing about Ohio State that I like? Sorry to flip the script, but Ohio State's offense versus our defense. First off, Claire can't block or even get his assignment. And so Ohio State's in a tricky position because they want their pass receiving tight end, but he can't do anything in the run game.
He got thrown around,
dude, or he would just straight miss. Like this is his guy. He's supposed to pull up. It's counter, and he just doesn't, or he picks the wrong guy. And then guess what? LaFau is going to smack the running back.
Yeah, so, Endries, really, actually, Jack Endries, in my opinion, played the best game on our offense.
And blocking too.
He's a very willing blocker.
That's what I heard. I heard people were actually impressed with his willingness to block.
One of the things that he does, as well as all of our pullers, is the second puller, the guy who's turning up on different counter plays. They're going way too wide. Instead of, like, when you're the second puller, you've got to scrape off of your offensive linemen who are blocking down. In fact, your aim point needs to be at the snap where offensive linemen are currently lined up. The expectation is the down blocks, you're going to get movement. And if you can get that tight pull coming up, you basically are going to ambush the linebacker who's kind of like trying to find the hole in the fill. But we were going way too wide, putting on the brakes and then trying to come back. And that's not how that works. I mean, it's stuff you can fix, but it's really sloppy. Like, I question how much one-on-one, like good on good we did in the offseason. Or if we just kind of created a lot of confidence going against the scout team and the third teamers. But it's worth watching. The defense I'd be happy to talk about all day because I saw a lot of really good things. LaFau is a completely different player.
Dude.
Adding weight was very good for him. He is way more physical.
Yeah, and he comes down. He's recognizing super well. He's shooting the gaps, beating their offensive linemen. Whenever the tight end doesn't understand his assignment, he's like, okay, idiot, and then just goes and hits the running back immediately. Like, LaFau, I thought was awesome, man. Like, I did watch end zone for our defensive line, and I thought he was just lurking. Normally your eyes would go to Anthony Hill. On the end zone, I was watching LaFau the whole time.
Yeah.
Like, he was the one that was messing with the quarterback. He looked intimidating. He understood where he needed to hit. He hit hard. It was I thought LaFau played absolutely awesome, man.
Yeah, great. I mean, Anthony Hill was the 4th best linebacker on that Saturday. Ohio State's 2 guys were great.
Yeah.
Styles and Arvell played great. And then Lafau, to me, was the best.
Yeah.
Hill does some good things, but he really struggled with overrunning. I mean, he's never been good against like standard run game. He's more like point and shoot, pursue, blitz.
Yeah.
Like, so that's as offenses, weirdly, it's a weird thing to say about Ohio State, but as offenses open up, he'll have more opportunities to shine. Ohio State played that pretty close to the vest, and they played a lot of big formations because they were, a little scared of our edges and they were scared of exposing Sam.
Yeah. Yeah. The big key for me too with the secondary, I thought communication was good. I just want to see a passing offense that lets the quarterback let it rip. You don't know till you don't know. The big one too is like, I think it was Kobe Black allowed Smith to get open on that flood concept, and he chose Claire, and Claire dropped it out of bounds, but Smith was open. By the way, Smith, I don't watch enough games to him to know, but he was pretty frustrated out there, man. Like when he was open there, he's like throwing his hands down and then he's dropping the ball, and like he seemed frustrated, man. Especially like after playing us last time and stuff like that. Smith was showing some visible frustration on the field on several plays on the all-22 that I couldn't see on the broadcast.
So Sayan only attempted 4 passes longer than 10 yards from the line of scrimmage. So, there's sort of an incomplete. People are like, why did we get more pressure or sacks? Or, well, they threw it 20 times and they only threw the ball. Now, they did have a 2 consecutive possessions where they did some 4 wide. And we did have a couple of snaps where I was not impressed with our edge pressure. But I'm wondering if they had other concerns or they are being like told to do other things other than just pin their ears back. But I mean, all in all, the defense played really well. We missed 3 tackles.
Yeah.
The entire game. I mean, that's very impressive. We played 23 guys, Connor. Do you know the level of confidence you have to have as a coach to put more than your 2 deep out on the field in a huge game?
Opener.
Most coaches cut that rotation down to 15 guys, 16 guys max. We put 23 dudes out there, and 18 of them played double-digit snaps. So that's huge level of confidence, and it's very impressive.
I liked what they did with there was one look where we were 3 down, and then it was Trey Moore and Simmons on the outside and like the 3-4 linebacker look. On the outside on a pass rush. That was cool. There was a lot of times where I'd see Trey Moore out in the apex overhang. They would do the same thing with Simmons. Simmons does this one where, dude, he reroutes Smith so bad. They still catch the ball, which is annoying. But Simmons is just a mean player. And like Smith ran by him and he just checks Smith as hard as he can off of his route. So I like what they did where it wasn't even like a pure drop. It was just they brought them out kind of lined up as basically a super big nickel, and those looks were really cool too. I thought Taff was great too, man. Like when I was
Taff was great.
When I was watching the end zone, man, like they're Caleb Downs, we know how special he is and can do whatever. They're asking Taff to do a ton. Taff is standing flat-footed at the 10. His eyes are in the run game. He's consistently making tackles in the A gap. And then also he has to pay attention to Tate and Smith and all of this. But if you watch Taff in the middle of the field, you can just see how they use him, how much they trust him to be able to sniff out what's going on, and that kind of stuff. I thought Taff looked awesome too and just looked like a smart player in the middle of the field.
I love Taff, and he's always underestimated athletically. He closes distance, man, fast. Some of it's recognition, like he has play fast. He's smart.
Yep.
He's a quick guy. Like he's got a lot of agility and dexterity. I don't know his 40, but I'm sure it's fine. But he's quick, and he had 3 tackles at the line of scrimmage where he starts 12 yards back.
Yep.
That's very impressive. Fitting the run from depth is not easy. Like it's kind of a magical skill, and it can get you in. It'll put you in an NFL. I mean, Deshaun Elliott had a nice NFL career based mostly off of that ability. So
yeah, well, and it's like I swear he has the A gap, like on some of these, like where he's standing, like because no one's fitting it, and he's the one that's running right there and making the tackle. I do worry about getting him in conflict with that eventually, someone will try to put them in conflict, or you'll be able to send someone over the top and beat a corner. But you can just see how much they trust Taff and how much of a crucial piece he is in that center of the defense when you watch the end zone, especially.
Hey, can we talk really quick about what a light box is? Because I saw a lot of discussion about it in the chat, and people in the different threads are discussing it.
Yeah.
A light box is typically fewer defenders within the tackles, or actually even the space outside the tackles if they've got like double tight ends, than the offense. And there's different ways you can count it and all that, but it's not a set number of people.
Right.
So if a team is running 5 wide and you have 6 in the box, you have a heavy box.
Right.
So it's not an arbitrary number that meets that requirement. So someone in the chat said, I say the box is people dedicated to the run. No, that's not what the box is. So it's, if you could have 9 guys in the box and 6 of them could drop out in pass coverage. So you have a heavy box, even if only 3 people were dedicated to the run. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think Jay is saying too, like if you're like, I don't want to go in the weeds, but like say you're in quarters, the safeties are technically in the run fit, even though they're back. I get what he's saying there, but the reality is like it's all relative to the core. How many run blockers do we have potentially in the core? Yeah. How many run defenders do you have? And I would say even a light box can be equal numbers or less.
Yes, agreed.
Because
I think there are light boxes. I would call it a light box when you have equal numbers, but it's the distribution.
Yeah.
So Ohio State, Sark, to his credit, multiple times, especially early in that game, dialed up formations where we had Ohio State outnumbered at the point of attack. Like we had more blockers than they had defenders. And usually you're -1 because the quarterback is handing off, right?
Yep.
We were +1 just handing the ball off, and we would get 4 yards. And so people are like, what a great victory. And I'm like, that's a loss.
Yep.
That is you just told that defense and Matt Patricia, there is no reason for you to get out of this defense.
Yep. And that's,
you saw TCU, like North Carolina tried a little of that, and they dropped a 75-yard run, and then they dropped another 25-yard run, and North Carolina was like, we can't do that anymore.
Yeah, that's modern football. Like, look, it's really simple, guys. Is it faster to run somewhere or fly somewhere? And it's faster to fly somewhere. So the pass is what you have to defend first now. It's just more efficient. And if you can defend the run with a light box, you do it all day. You let them get 5 yards because guess what? It's better than 8 yards on that quick pass. So you do it. And the great teams do that. They defend the run from the light box. And that's what you can do. But that's what's really hard for fans to separate. Also, there's a lot of emotion around Wisner and Baxter in particular. They're team leaders. They're likable guys. So as soon as you touch on anything like that, it immediately strikes a nerve. And so it's hard to talk about the run game purely from like the sociopathic perspective when people feel so strongly about these players too,
Well, and in fairness to those people, they're consuming general press that's telling them that Texas has an elite running back room.
Right.
I mean, that is what people nationally are saying. And I wrote it in this, like, hey, I understand, you're
you muted out.
I was saying, you're reading this stuff. Those people don't know what they're talking about. It's not true. So people don't like to hear that. And because they're like, well, this guy has CBS Sports next to he has ESPN next to his name.
He had 1,000 yards. He's the returning.
These guys work for PFF, right? PFF says Texas has the 3rd best running back room in the country. Hey, man, I watch other college football. I've seen Bijan Robinson. I've seen Jonathan Brooks. I've seen Roshan Johnson. I've seen Jamal Charles. I've seen Ricky Williams with my own eyes. I know what it looks like. Don't buy the bullshit.
Yeah. Yards after contact being the indicator to look at for running backs. And Paul phrases it really well too. He's like, look, man, you have to grade a running back on what they add. Okay. It cannot be that they got for what is blocked. not anyone, I couldn't, but any standard running back can get for what is blocked unless they're just awful. So you need to look at what they're adding. And a big thing I can point to show people concrete, look at all the checkdowns to Baxter. He gets hit by the first guy every time and goes down. Remember Bijan? If you got Bijan one-on-one 30 yards, so that's just a concrete example that can show people in space, Baxter one-on-one. He gets hit by the first guy and he goes down. So it's like we need guys that can make people miss consistently, and we're going to need it, right? If Arch is struggling, we're going to need that playmaking from the running back room. So, but I get it. Running back room is a very touchy subject. I totally get it.
Hey, you want to know a guy who's absolutely elite and there is no debate? Gabe Winslow. You're damn right. Dial these 10 numbers. 832-557-1095. If your current interest rate is 6.5% or higher, call him right now. He can refi you for free. What's the catch? There's no catch. Dial 832-557-1095. He'll refi you for free, and he'll absolutely kill it in terms of service delivery, everything that you need. This is the guy you need, your partner. What is going on at your house, Connor?
Dude, the maintenance guys love to come by right outside my window. They'll be done shortly.
Well, I'll be done with this shortly.
Yeah.
Hey, if you don't believe me, go to his Google reviews. There's over 200 absolutely satisfied, glowing reviews, paragraph after paragraph, talking about the amazing level of service they got from Gabe. Really appreciate his support. And you guys support yourselves in the biggest financial decision you'll make in your lives. Go with the best. That's Gabe Winslow. 832-557-1095.
Sorry, I'm trying to keep the mute on. How bad is it?
Bad.
Okay, well, we're going to have fun because they're parked right outside the window here.
What are they doing?
They're running some type of like a vacuum truck. So it's like they're running a generator with like a big tube next to it.
Okay.
So that's a lot of fun. I might let you do a little monologue and go out there and see if we can make something happen with that. But okay, guys, we need to talk the Spartans. In chat, you guys let me know how annoying it is because it's annoying me. We will talk Spartan football. They played Central Michigan in game one. They got ran all over in the first quarter. They could not stop them. Central Michigan was in 13 personnel, looked like goal line the whole time. They eventually got them out of it, but it was a lot of fun to watch. The big thing, though, I want to talk about is their offense, and I'll pull that up right here.
Yeah, for those of you who are not, up on the Chippewas, I don't expect you to be. They have a bunch of former Army staffers, and they run a lot of really creative, heavy run sets, and they just power you. And they upset San Jose State. San Jose State was a double-digit favorite in this game. It was at San Jose State, which, I don't know if you're aware of that amazing San Jose State home field advantage, Connor, but Central Michigan just ran all over them. They had a back run for 102, another back ran for 99. And they were punishing them, not just consistent runs, but explosive runs. And San Jose State really struggled offensively. Really slow start for Walker Egan. He turned it over a couple of times in the first half, was missing guys. They got going once they found our man, Connor. Me and Connor have a receiver on their team that we love named Danny Scudero, who is freaking awesome. He reminds me, I'm not trying to be too ebullient here, but he reminds me of Danny Amendola. Very similar body type, great in and out of his breaks and his routes. He was at Sacramento State and transferred out. And man, he is a huge find. He had 9 catches for 189 yards in that game. And Central Michigan could not cover him. And that guy, he's legitimately quick. So he's going to be actually fun to watch. The rest of the receiver group, not quite as good. So I think they're going to have a rough go of it if we decide to pay some attention to Mr. Scudero.
You didn't like Leland Smith? Is the big 6'4", 215 guy? Go up.
I thought he's fine. I mean, I think when you see him against like Texas DBs, I think it may look a little different.
So we know we really liked what we saw from Littleton. Well, Littleton's going to have a real matchup again this week, and that's going to be fun in Scudero. He is incredibly fast. He has really good change of pace, comes off the line slowly, and then can turn it on. He's a true deep threat, and he's somebody that they go to in big moments. So it will be fun because this is such a pass-heavy offense. You're going to see a ton of 10 personnel, 11 personnel. You're going to see empty, 4 wide, all of that stuff. That's going to be a huge factor for you guys. The passing attack, if Eget doesn't just panic, does take shots, focuses on the pass, we will see our secondary tested a little bit more, like a good stress test, right? You don't expect to lose anything, but I also won't be surprised if Scudero gets loose for a nice, 40-yard touchdown. So there's those kind of things too, especially Yak with him. So look, the secondary is going to be tested, and me and Paul always say you want to play teams that play at extreme ends, meaning they run every play or they pass every play. You want to see certain units and positions tested. This week it should be the secondary. Eget has a problem throwing these field quick outs, and he'll hang them sometimes. There's opportunities for pick sixes as well if the corners play aggressive and bite. So that's a big factor for me. They also had a fun quarterback that comes in, Amasone, a freshman, and he is a Wildcat quarterback, and they bring him in to get a spark and try to run. I don't expect that to have any success, but be aware they do have a second quarterback. When he comes in, it's time to do read options and draws.
Yep. One thing to know about San Jose State, they throw it deep. They are not shy, and they do not like to throw the ball behind the line of scrimmage. Their goal is to get the ball down the field. So Eget he threw 7 balls, 20 yards or more past from the line of scrimmage. He was 4 of 7 for 154 yards on those attempts. So something to be aware of. Where he really struggles is that intermediate game from 10 to 19 yards, Connor. He's not a reliable thrower. So, and then also, as you said, on those little short throws, he threw the outside left, and he was 1 of 4 for 6 yards and 2 picks. So maybe a pass route they want to get out of their combinations because Eget is not doing great with it.
But Eget's weird, man. Like one down, you're like, damn, that was a nice throw. Like, and there's good velocity on it. Like, I don't want to like that he's inept. Like, I think he's a pretty good quarterback. He was just making dumb. And also, to be fair, he did that in the first quarter and he cleaned it up. So he responded to the adversity well too. But Eget's a nice quarterback. Now, the running back room is really fun. Floyd Chalk, the 4th returner. He's a little bowling ball back. He's at, let me see what we have here. 5'7", 192. Yeah, 5'7", 192, little bowling ball back. Pretty good speed. And then their changeup is Lamar Radcliffe, bigger back, 6'1", 220. But they were one of the worst rushing offenses in the country last year, I believe. They had really good passing with Nick Nash. So not a great rushing team by any means, but their running back switch up is pretty fun. And also when they integrate it with Amasone as basically a Wildcat quarterback that'll pull it and throw it like one time a game. So run game is interesting. I don't expect them to have success there. I do expect the secondary to get some legit reps, and I do expect them to make some plays because of how much they focus on throwing downfields. I like their concepts. They do a lot of just simple stuff. They throw to motion a lot. So the guy you see that motions out, he's most likely getting the ball. They're using it to run behind someone, out leverage, and get it. So pay attention to where the motion's going because they generally do throw to motion. Some teams throw away from motion to disguise. Some teams throw to. They definitely throw to motion often.
One thing to also keep in mind, San Jose State does a lot of stuff off just timing. So you're saying, well, hey, they throw the ball every, 2/3 of their downs, they're throwing the ball. Because everything's on timing, even their deep routes, it's hard to get there. I'm not saying you don't try, and we have a good enough secondary that we might make them hold the ball or we can turn them over, but they actually want you to blitz them. So, because it gets them one-on-one coverage and they're throwing to spots. So the quarterback is throwing the ball well before that wide receiver is making their break. But the wide receiver's job is to go make that throw right. So when he was blitzed by Central Michigan, 8 of 11 106 yards, 2 touchdowns. When they didn't blitz, 15 of 33 for 197 yards, 2 interceptions. Something to think about there.
Also, what's fun is to look at their offensive line's weight. So left tackle is at 285, left guard is 284, center 288, right guard 278, right tackle 295.
Yeah.
So defensive line should hold up there.
Well, and frankly, short yardage for them is a throw.
Yeah.
Or it's like a sneak, or they do something to catch you off guard to try to convert. They're not going to line up and try to mash you, right?
Yeah, they're very reasonable about what their strengths and weaknesses are, and a lot of it's run outside. Amasone, if you plug the box, they're going to run outside. Floyd Chalk ends up running outside a lot. The only one with the size to hold up is that Lamar Radcliffe, I believe his name is. Yeah, he's the only one at 6'1", like 220 that can do it. But it's a lot of outside runs when they do run, or there's some component of a draw. They're going to drop back, look like it's a quick game, and then hand it off really quick. So that's a big aspect. We got all sorts of fun audio on this one, guys. Hey, stop, dude. Is he packing up? Be super cool if you'd leave, man. It drives me nuts, and it's always Tuesday. Like, I gotta give it to them, man. They keep a tight schedule. So that's the offense. Stress tests on the secondary. I do expect them to get some explosives. It's just the nature of the offense, and they have the players to do it. And I do like their Leland Smith. He's 6'4", 215 boundary receiver. As the game gets close and they're trying to win it, and Scudero is kind of tapped out because he's already got 900 yards, they start doing these jump balls to Leland Smith. He's a nice looking player. Expect him once or twice to make a play, but really Scudero is your key, and they move him around, but he's a slot guy. And so that means Littleton, right? And we did a good job keeping a lid on Ohio State, but Sand wasn't looking for blood deep. They are looking to hit you deep. So we do need to see these reps where they're being targeted, 50 times a game, not downfield 50 times, but you get what I'm saying. Pass heavy attack. And you get all these reps without real fear of something really going bad. So it's fun. But that'll be the big thing for Littleton. I know Eric said that he would even like Littleton to move out to corner, and maybe Gilbo goes back to star. It's interesting. Littleton had a great game, but I'm so weary of one game. I just need to see more reps for everyone about what's going on there.
Related to that, there's a question in the chat. Do you see Sark playing Arch the entire game during the remaining out-of-conference schedule? No.
I hope so, though. I mean, it went from I wanted to see our fourth string get reps to I want to see Arch Manning complete passes and develop relationships with his receivers. Pretty quick for me.
I would play him deeper into the third for sure.
Yeah.
Maybe just say, hey, you're playing 3 quarters. Like that's the game plan.
Yeah.
But I don't think you.
No, I don't think you go to the zeros with him. But no. I don't want him out after the half either. Like, this team, unfortunately, needs time and reps. The first string needs time and reps together. And these 3 games are going to prove crucial because there's not a huge risk factor. So you get a lot of upside without a lot of the downside of losing the game. So, but yeah, I want to see the first string receivers out there with Arch as often as I can.
So what do you want to work on in this if you're Texas? Do you want to just line up, spread it out, and throw the ball 20, 25 times in the first half and try to get some rhythm? Or do you just want to play straight off, play it straight? If they have a light box, run the ball. If they have a heavy box, throw the ball, blah, blah, blah. Like, what do you want to get out of this game? And we're also going to be having a similar conversation about the next 2 games as well.
I want to see, you don't want to go too crazy. You want Arch to feel as close as it can feel to like a Florida, Oklahoma coming up. But I do want an emphasis on pass. I do want to see quicker stuff underneath. I need to see, is his mechanics breaking down? Is he just missing balls 5 feet in front of him? Like, I need those reps, man. I need screens. I need shallows. I need stuff coming off a mesh. Like, I need checkdowns to backs. Like, I want to see the easy stuff look easy for Arch. And of course, then I need to see a couple of shots downfield as well. But, try to game simulate it because you don't want Arch. He clearly was in a weird headspace. You don't want to make it too weird for him. But no, for sure, man. I want to see what the receivers timed up with the quarterback looks like. And when they are timed up and the scheme is right, I want to see him complete the ball. Period.
What about the running backs? Are there some different bodies you'd like to see out there? If maybe there's some guys with different juice?
Yeah, man. Thanks for giving me an opportunity to talk about Christian Clark. I will take it. I want to see Christian Clark. I think he has the highest upside in the room, but he's young and he's coming off that Achilles. So I want to see him because I think if you have a rotation of Wisner, who is sound, Baxter, who's bigger, doesn't always utilize it for extra yards though, and that's frustrating. And then Clark, they can carve people up and make people miss. Now you have a room of 3 people that I think situationally you can find out who's best for what. The thing is, Wisner and Baxter are pretty similar in their output, not their body size, but that they're just not guys that make a ton of guys miss or run through a ton of stuff. So we need to find guys that can, get one-on-one with a safety and take it for 30. That's a big factor we're going to be missing.
Bobby Petronic in the chat says, I want to play it straight, featuring more of a true spread offense, since that's what we're going to have to do against defenses who can take away our play action, deep stuff, and crossers. Yeah, maybe so. We don't, there's the imagination and vision of what we want from certain things. Then there's the reality. We don't, Sark runs a multiple offense, but we don't do a lot of empty and true spread. Like people are always like, we need to go empty and just play hurry up. And, half the games I do a preview, I'm like, well, we would really benefit in this game if we played hurry up and kind of push the pace. We're not going to do that. We might do it for a possession.
Well, we had it much more than we've seen it with Sark in game 1. Like the amount of 11 personnel was crazy. It was a ton of 11. And if you look, it's a ton of 3x1. And I kind of denote where I saw condensed stuff. Sark normally was like overly reliant on condensed. We didn't have very many. Like everything was like 2x2. Sometimes the tight end's attached, but he's not, that's still spread to have a tight end not attached like Gravedigger position. And so that's still the spread. Like that's what we saw. Like we saw 11 personnel, a ton of trips, a ton of 2x2. Sark was trying to visually make it easier on Sark. Also, if you notice, 2x2 generally, if Arch didn't miss the throw, as far as guys getting open and it being there, 2x2 was stronger for us. Something about the balance of that helped Arch for whatever. Just pick your side and look at a 2-man concept. That helped Arch a little bit.
To me, what was telling about like this is our base formation in Sark's mind, this is what he'd like to do.
Yeah.
We came out in the pistol, one running back, closely aligned to the quarterback, which the pistol, generally speaking, is a more running-ish formation, right?
Yeah, just to get downhill.
We had Endries split out, flexed on the short side of the field, and then we had trips down on the wide side. We drop back. Everyone crosses. We do that little flow route to DeAndre Moore. He's wide open. I mean, it's ironic. The first play of the game should have been an easy 25-yard completion.
Yep.
Right? And Arch turfed it 5 yards in front of the receiver.
Yep.
And so I know people are kind of doing like Sark, he's got to do this better. It's like, okay. He can't like take the ball from Arch's hand and go put it in DeAndre Moore's hands. And then the second part is if you really do break down the goal line stuff, Sark, the buck stops with him. He's the head coach. He owns it all, right? But I'll just say, if you watch our goal line stuff, watch our offensive line and watch the puzzling level of effort in some really big plays in crucial parts of the game. And it's weirdly disconcerting. So I'll just leave it at that.
Well, that's a good lead in before we keep going, guys. Guess what? Some things just go better together. Burgers and fries, Friday nights in Texas football, and now Academy Sports and Outdoors and Whataburger. Your favorite new tailgate combo is coming in hot. Academy Sports and Outdoors is teaming up with Whataburger to fuel your pre- and post-game traditions. It's a match made in Texas. Score your limited edition gear at Academy. Get everything you need to host your own Friday night tailgate. Canopies, cornhole boards, jerseys, stadium seats, and more. Shop exclusive Academy and Whataburger gear while it lasts. Dig in, guys. Yeah, the only play I didn't like in the red zone was the literal sneak. And we talked about this on other shows. I've taken pictures. I've explained it 1,000 times. We have sneaks happen functionally between a guard, center guard. That's the point of attack. If you look at like old war things, you're trying to decimate each other, right? You're trying to separate forces and get bigger forces against their smaller forces whenever you break it up. We have, what is it called, Paul? Defeat in detail. I'm sure you would know these terms. Yeah, but you're trying to defeat someone in detail. We have a guard, center guard. Ohio State has 4 down linemen, 3 safety linebackers over the top, 2 guys pointing. It's 3 on 8. And it's like, dude, you got a time out there. Like, there's no amount of heart and tough guyness where you can go 3 on 8. And like I said, all the offensive line just dive onto their stomachs. Defensive line goes down, and the guys just jump over. It's too easy to defend. That was the only time in the red zone I liked the QB draws. I liked what we did down there. That was the one play where I was like, this doesn't make any sense, and it doesn't work.
Yeah, Coach Charlie makes a great point. I think he and I saw this game very similarly. They catch D-line versus driving them. So a lot of what you're doing as an offensive line coach, when defenses are just shifting all over the place and the fronts are different every down and linebackers are running up and dropping out, a lot of the times you're like, man, some of this run game, we just got to get a hat on a hat and we'll be okay, right? That's true, but that's like a big picture observation. You have to drive the hat across from you. You have to turn the hat across from you. You have to do something to that guy. You can't just stand there and junior high dance sway, and then the guy, he's a better athlete than you are. He plays on the defense. He will discard you and go chase the ball. And that's what we do. We have this mentality of, well, we got a hat on him, and then what? And then what happened? Like, that's the key. And so I think Flood has had that mentality now for 3 years, and it shows on the field. When you play a better defense, even an average defense, and they get in the red zone, there's no more, like, deception is not as easy, and everything's compressed. You got to move people to score. Or you need to, unblock, leave people unblocked and option them, or like do creative things in that regard. But,
right.
Coach Charlie is very on the nose here. You can't just catch defensive linemen and like receive them. You have to freaking fire out. And that's the whole premise of gap blocking. You're getting very positive angles. You're blocking down on people. If you've ever played on the offensive line, blocking down on people is a lot more fun than like just trying to destroy someone heads up. So I don't know. I just would say that I'm not sure what Flood has been doing, but he needs a real wake-up call, and people need to stop making excuses from him for that guy because he's eloquent in press conferences.
Yeah. I disagree. I think he's a great guy. I love him. I like him too, but I just take the opposite fan side so I don't catch any flack every time. No, he's a great guy. There's no issues there. Look, the reality is, man, we need to see more from Flood. It's kind of like the Sark moniker of all gas, no brakes, and then we go NFL style in the second half. It's like, all right, I don't like this marketing phrase. And then Flood's is big humans, but the big humans don't do anything big humans do. It's like,
big humans is for pass pro. I mean, I've said this from the start. It's why Texas Tech had big humans on their offensive line under Leach. They're there to pass pro, right? They're there to get around. They're there to fill up space and make sure you don't get pushed back into the quarterback. But I'm not sure we're always fulfilling that obligation.
It's kind of like, how DBs and receivers agree to take off reps all the time. Like they'll just run to each other and be like, okay, you're covered. You're not going to do anything. Are you? No, I'm good. I'm tired too. They make deals. Often our offensive line kind of makes deals, where it's just like, hey, we catch them. If you don't start acting up, I'm not going to act up, And so it's on a chalkboard. It's all correct, but that's not how it works. Just because your guy is near you now, the play is not done.
Well, the mentality of that is dangerous because you do the scout team level of effort on the backside of a play. and you kind of fire out, and the guy goes, "Oh," and the defender who on your scout team goes, "Oh, the play's over there. Hey, let's hang out. Let's chat."
Yeah.
Ohio State was like, "Hey, bye. I'm gonna go make the tackle 7 gaps down the freaking line of scrimmage while you're standing there."
Yep.
Like, no deal. We're not making a deal. I'm here to win the game. And our offensive line too often was like, "Oh, that's how you're gonna play."
Well, you're talking about CJ Hicks too. Like, also, man, as a player, you have to know your personnel, who you're up against. CJ Hicks is a DPR, which means he's fast down the line. And and he was a bad run linebacker. Apparently, he couldn't see well. But as far as like point and shoot, CJ Hicks is a player. So you also got to know, look, man, I got a DPR that loves to run really fast down lines and make plays. So it's like I can't take off with him. It's different if you have some lumbering defensive end that's, wheezing and breathing hard. So that's a big factor. All right.
No coach is perfect, though. Oh, hold on.
I said Flood ain't calling no plays. Yeah.
Yeah.
They need to execute the plays that are called for him.
Jay says no coach is perfect, though. He's got a Cam and a Brandon Baker to be ready. He's clearly good at developing. Brandon Baker is a 5-star. Did he discover him on a trash heap somewhere?
Yeah.
By the way, Brandon Baker's who I'm talking about, Jay. He had a terrible game.
Yeah.
You can't just rely on the color announcer. Like, you got to watch the offensive line. You have to actually watch the game. You got to watch those guys. And it tells a different story from what you think.
Dude, I love Clatton. They were lying all that game. They were like, there's no motion. Where's the motion? There's motion on 75% of our offensive snaps. 75. And it's like, I was like, where did fans get this? Because I was getting a ton of comments on all my like tweets of like, where's the motions? And I'm like, and then I realized that they're saying it on the TV and people are just internalizing it. And there's like, dude, there's motion all the time. Like, go back and watch the game, watch for motion. You will see it 75% of the time. The difference was, though, it wasn't sexy Sark motion. It was like little cheat motion, same side motion, tight end starting in the core, moving out. But it wasn't like, where you see Sark send like guys flying.
They like the orbit jet reverse motion where the guy stops halfway, motions back, and then a guy replaces them, and then a running back splits out, and a wide receiver goes to our backfield. Like, it's interesting.
Yeah. I mean, he would have allowed a sack, but for some reason, he let CJ Hicks go right on Arch on a crucial 4th down. They said it was miscomms, but the last play where Arch is covered and somehow throws it to injuries. Yeah. I mean, that's a sack.
That was Baker blowing a protection.
That was Baker just not even blocking a DPR.
What I'm telling you, Jay, is in my opinion, he did not have decent effort in the run game. And I go to Inside Texas, join, and I can show you the clips.
All right. We'll talk San Jose State defense just real quick from a statistical breakdown. So they did good on some situational stuff. Now, this is tricky. This is one game of data, guys. Also, Central Michigan was in 1940s football, so it wasn't like they were trying to fly high and score all the time. They got out of it later. But what is important that CMU ran all over them to start. So 70th right now in opponent yards per rush. They went heavy. The tough part is if I was Sark, the game plan is obvious. Go into 12 personnel and run them over. But I want to see Arch. And so it's like you almost have to do the wrong game. And Sark probably won't. But you need to do the wrong game plan to see what we want to see. Because really you can line up in 12 and you can rush for 250 and you should be fine. So that's a interesting factor. So opponent pass per game wasn't really frequent, right? 2 seems high, like good, but it just means it's actually low in this case. They threw 13 passes all game. But what is interesting, when they did time those passes, they gave up 8.8 yards per pass.
Yeah.
Now, is that because it's super well timed, right? And they're winning 90%? Or is the secondary an absolute nightmare because they lost like 90% of their secondary besides Rivas? So
not only did they lose 90% of their secondary, this is the G5 conundrum that I talk about in my preview book, Thinking Texas Football, still available. You have guys that show out. That's a team strength. They're all sophomores and juniors. Them showing out guarantees that it will be a team weakness the next year.
Yeah.
because P4 programs come in and take all of your starters.
Yep.
So they lost starters to Arizona, USC, and I think Duke.
Mhm.
And 2 of those 3 guys are starting for those programs. So their team strength last year was their secondary. They had a ton of interceptions. I think they were 3rd in the country in interceptions. And now they're all gone. So their team strength went to a team weakness, and now they're playing guys that are jabronis, right? So that's the G5 conundrum of like, if my guys are too good, then I only have them for 1 year. They're gone. You kind of want like unappealing but very heady physical players that will stay in your program. Like I don't like you're laughing, but it's true. Like
No,
if
you
and
want
I were
5'9".
coaching. If you and I were coaching a G5 program 15 years ago, we'd be like, hey, let's go find a skinny guy who's athletic, and we'll get him in the program. We'll put weight on him, and we'll get him strong, and then he'll be a good explosive player. You now want to almost go get the Lake Travis guy who's had a personal trainer since he was 11, and there's no athletic upside, but he's just a complete like rock solid player, and he'll stay in your program for 5 years because no one kind of wants him.
That's what I'm saying. You want 5'9", undersized, but really good at his assignment.
Yeah,
but to wear no Power 5 program, they're like
4'6", 40, like right on the edge, like
dude, we should do reverse scouting.
Yes,
Yeah, we should do that and be like, look, man. But yeah, where the P5s can't get the okay to draft his athletic profile. They did good situationally. That's important. 3rd down defense and 4th down defense. Now, also, how many reps did we see? Was it 3 times? So that kind of thing is important. But you should be able to run on them. You should be able to pass on them. There's really not a ton of reasons here why.
I love you, dude, but we've got rankings after 1 game.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. So it's just you have to go off of 1 game here. And like I said, it could be 3 instances that this even occurred on the field, right?
Yeah.
And you're stuck in that place. Well, do I show you last year's? Well,
no.
Nick Nash is gone.
No,
so
everyone's gone.
Yeah, and so it's like I can't show you last year's. Now, if it's a team with a ton of returning guys, then I might think about it. But here we just have to go off game 1. The reality is you have to watch game 1. This is much early. I hate early in the season because it's all feel and more opinion-y. You get deeper in the season, you can say, look, this is the case. And also CMU played a weird style. They played very heavy run early, like 13 personnel type stuff. So grain of salt. But
can you remind us maybe of what team talent rating means?
It's just their recruiting rank.
Okay.
They just take all of their recruiting number, put it into one, and then they put it comparative to everyone else.
Is that 116 or 180?
Yeah, 116.
Wow. That's lower than I would have guessed. I would have thought they'd have been like 90.
Yeah, so did I.
That's crazy.
Yeah, if you see DF plus, that's DFEI mixed with a recruiting kind of ranking. So remember, these numbers have to work together. This lets me know if you're overperforming because this one's including recruiting. So you're at 81 with a mix of recruiting. This doesn't include recruiting. So you are playing better than your recruiting tied to it, but you need those 2 metrics together to see if a team's overperforming their rank. And they are a little bit.
Man, 116. That's surprising to me. I would have thought like that's, Kent State type level.
Well, it's also funny in these first games, right? Like they have 0 sacks per game, but they're 76, but also 40 teams are 76.
Yeah,
right? Because they're all zeros, So that's kind of the big factor. But like we said, Egan had really bad turnover problem early. He 2 picks and frankly should have thrown 2 more early. He got lucky. Yeah. And then he gets sacked and he fumbles and gets backed up at their own like 15. Then he locks in, credit to him. But the opening of that game, I was like, ugh. So that's going to be a big factor. But keys for this game, guys, when you're on defense, they're going to pass a lot. Watch out for that little slot. He's a short little guy. I think he's either a Polynesian or Mexican guy. Short little guy, and he is,
wait. Let's reflect on that statement.
Now that I say Scudero, it's probably not Polynesian, but I'm just going off of the skin color. So you need to know who to visually look for on the field, man. You got to know who to look for.
I'm sorry. Okay.
My advice will let you identify him on the field quicker, and that's what I'm going with. But he's really fast, man. Super talented. I wouldn't be surprised at all if he makes a super big play. Leland Smith, big 6'4" boundary receiver. He's always on the single side. So check him out.
Oh my gosh.
But secondary is going to need we're not going to get banned. All right. So
no, I don't care. I mean, yeah. I'm not sensitive. You just make me laugh. Like he's a Guatemalan or a Samoan. I'm not sure.
Yeah. But well, dude, the roster is a nightmare with names. Thank God, dude. Like,
they have so many polys,
dude. It's crazy. And so, like, I have their roster pulled up. Luckily, shout out San Jose State. They make their players say their own name and post the recordings. So that was super helpful. But the names on this roster are a nightmare to pronounce. Now, here's a weird one, Paul. Larry Turner Gooden. No rep.
Yeah. I remember that guy.
Not a starter.
No, not a starter.
So something's going on there, man. No reps, only 89 reps last year, not in the rotation. I don't know if he's hurt or something. I didn't do a ton of research, but that's just interesting. A former Texas player not succeeding at San Jose State.
It happens.
It does happen. When Joe did this article of our transfers and what happened to them later, dude, it's crazy how many of them have transferred multiple times after.
Oh, yeah.
You would think they would go to SMU and start, and no, most of the time they're on their third stops.
Well, I remember very early when the portal happened, I had a theory. I was like, I bet FCS All-Americans level up and like G5 like super all-conference guys, they level up better than the Alabama former 4-star who's on his third school. Like, you probably want that FCS All-American because he was just a guy that was like, late bloomer, classic deal, didn't hit the weight room, played basketball until he was a junior. The profile, right?
Yeah.
And then he goes and just shows out. And that's how you get Cody Schrader's at Missouri leading the SEC in rushing from Mino State or something like that. Where was he from? Truman State.
I never heard of that.
And then you got Scadaboo from Sacramento State. Like, guys, like those guys who are badasses at that level are much more likely to level up than that third school used to be a Georgia guy on his, like those guys just don't pan. And we learned that the hard way back in 2021, if you'll remember.
Well, also it shows that Sark has a good reach on who he lets out of the program because they go off and kind of disappear elsewhere. Mal, you're talking about a guy that can level up. Scudero could play slot receiver. Like I would poach him immediately and use it. He's going to be super undersized. I mean, he's 5'9", 174. But like, man, that was like an Oklahoma State slot for a while.
I'm telling you, that guy looked like Danny Amendola.
I know. Like, I'm like, dude, when I'm scouting these lower ranks, it's like Scudero's going real P5, P4, whatever. So that's going to be the big factor there, guys. But should be a fun game. Let's see if Arch settles down. Everything I've seen from people that do credible analysis, watching the tape, they're not clearly coming from a weird spot. They're all like, I don't know what the hell happened with those mechanics, because we got egg on our face because we watched the tape, the all 22 in the past games, and we would talk about the mechanics, that they looked good. He looked calm and composed. So did a lot of other really good minds. And everyone was like, dude, I don't even know what to tell my audience. Like, that was just weird. So we'll see.
What are some other races?
Yeah, I'm not going to name races. All right.
Hey, chat, chime in with your favorite races.
Do not do that. And this is a great time to end the show, everyone. Me and Ian and Paul are going to go shoot a little film study. So we got a film study coming for you guys too. Be on the lookout for that. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Hey, we have a super chat we didn't address.
Oh, my bad.
Common courtesy says we must.
Yes. Brett asks, Paul, how concerned are you about Arch this year?
I don't know. We need to see him play more games. His debut was not great, Brett. We both saw the same thing, man. Often you have to look at the quarterback within context of the offense. Are receivers open? Is he constantly under pressure? Is he getting hit? Is he got poor surrounding personnel? Blah, blah, blah. Arch didn't have like perfect environment or ecosystem, but a third of his throws were inaccurate. Let's just leave it at I mean, they were not catchable balls, and that's not acceptable. On 30 attempts, a quarterback who's on should be throwing 2 or 3 uncatchable balls, and that's it, not 10. So,
and those uncatchables,
he missed some touchdowns, frankly.
And we're talking uncatchables. We're talking dirt or 10 yards over their head, not like it was 3 yards off uncatchable.
Or crosser, and you throw it at the back of the guy's head.
Yeah.
Like,
my big thing is this, man. Arch introduced questions to himself and, with his play. The problem is Arch plays great these next 3 games. Guess what? The narrative going into the swamp is going to be, well, what does Arch look like in the road on pressure? So this doesn't get answered, guys, until basically Florida. But what you do hope to see is a quarterback that looks more calm, composed, and hitting his layups. That's going to be the biggest factor, 1,000%.
Word.
But yeah, you guys saw what we saw. I wish I could tell you exactly.
I wish I had some reassuring thing to tell you. Oh, if he just fixes this one thing, it's all better.
Yeah, we got to see. A lot of that appeared mental to me as well. So, got to see, man. And also, is there a human being with more pressure that was placed on him? It's a real thing. You got family. You're trying to make Papa proud and Granddad proud and your uncle's proud. On top of that, the whole nation is key. Dude, Fox News did a piece when Arch committed. It was insane, dude. Sitting at my grandma's house. It's on 24/7.
I would recommend
Arch Manning commits. I was like,
I would recommend he not turn on the television or go on the internet for the rest of the year.
Yeah. You got to protect your mindset. Because he's in this weird blender, man. Luckily, he is in a family that knows how to play this game and deal with it. So we'll figure it out, guys. Guess where you can go to figure out everything else? InsideTexas.com. It's a wonderful website. It's a wonderful message board and incredible articles all the time from our writers. And I mean all the time. There's a ton of content on there. You can refresh, wait 5 minutes and refresh, and you'll probably get a new article, and it will be something where you will learn from. Join for just your first week, $1, and you will get a complimentary year to The Athletic. Guys, this was the Tuesday show. I appreciate you guys all hanging out. Paul, I thank you for your time. Let's go do this film study, Paul. This was brought to you by Academy Sports and Outdoors. Peace.